What is up, you guys? Digger Dan here, coming at you with another video. Today, I got a lot of things I want to cover. I'm starting with May wrap up, so talking about the books that I read in the month of May. Got some channel updates and personal life updates I want to let you guys know about, and then a June MBR because nothing is definitive in my life right now. I've got a lot of things I'm juggling. So yeah, everything is a maybe right now in the reading world for me. So without further ado, let's dig into it. So like I said, I want to start with what I read in the month of May. And my goal for May was 5 books because it was a 5-week month this year. So I wanted to try to keep that average of a book a week. And I did that. So I deviated from my TBR just a little bit. I took out The Well of Ascension for Mistborn Book 2 and then replaced it with a book I'll talk about here in a minute. But keeping on that Dune train, this was the first book I read for the month of May for 2024, and I loved it. This is the third one in the Dune saga that Frank Herbert wrote, and it's my favorite out of the 3 so far. All 3 of them, between Dune, Dune Messiah, and now Children of Dune, I love all 3 of them, but Children of Dune I just like the most, like I said. I rated this one a 9.28 out of 10, so very, very high. And I do have a review for this book on the channel, probably dinged somewhere up there. I actually will have a review on all these books that I've read. They might not be out yet 100%, but they will be out soon if they're not. But yeah, this is my favorite book I've read this month as well. Followed very closely by the last book I read this month. So anyway, book 1 was Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. Now, book 2 was kind of the surprise one that I didn't anticipate reading this month, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This one was influenced by my friend Benjamin from Benjamin's Book Club. He didn't directly tell me to read this, but I saw that he did a video on it, and it reminded me that the Apple TV miniseries for the book was coming out very soon. I don't know if all the episodes are out yet, but it's been out, at least some episodes. And I'm like, ooh, I want to read the book before I accidentally see spoilers or things like that. So yeah, I read this one on his recommendation, and I liked it. I didn't love it like I expected to, because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, this blew my mind. Blake Crouch is such a great writer. And I think he is a good author. It just didn't blow me away. I still rated this very fair. I think it was very solid. At a solid 7 out of 10. But it didn't blow me away like I was expecting it. But yeah, still a very good read. And yeah, I would say maybe actually no, I can't say it's my biggest disappointment for the month. That'll be a different one. But yeah, like I said, I do have a review for this one on the channel as well. Now, the third book I read this month was World War Z, an oral history of the zombie war. Now, this one, in my opinion, is probably the most unique out of the 5 I've read for this month, and probably my biggest surprise. Not the favorite one. Like I said, that was Children of Dune, but probably my biggest surprise for the month. Because it's told, like I said, it's an oral history, so the way it's told is that the narrator is a journalist going around the world and taking different people's accounts on their role in the zombie war that took place in the fictional planet, or it's still Earth, but just in the fictional history, I should say. And Max Brooks, the way he writes the characters, or character emotion is really good, especially in facts or in scenes where it's there maybe shouldn't be as much emotion, just because that the person that's telling their story survived because they're there to tell their account of it. But just still, my emotional impact for this book was very high. And World War Z I rated a little higher than Dark Matter. I rated this as a 7.1. But yeah, I have more thoughts in my review in this one as well. But yeah, book 3 I read for the month. Now, the fourth thing that I read this month wasn't a novel, but another one of my graphic novels, Solo Leveling Volume 6. In this, I've been loving the series so far, and I'm currently borrowing 7 and 8 from the library right now, so just spoilers, it's probably something I'm going to be reading in June. And it's just, I feel like it's almost getting better and better every single volume. Except this 6th one. 6th one I still really liked a lot, but I feel like Volume 5 was a little better than Volume 6. And I think part of the reason is because for this Volume 6, It focuses a little less on our main character, Jinwoo Sung, and it focuses more on some side characters to help move the overall plot of the world along, which I think makes sense. But I think the story really shines when it's focusing on our main character, Jinwoo. So anyway, that's another thing I read. I know I still debate if I should add it or add it as like my total for what I read for the month. But yeah, there you have it. Volume 6. And I didn't mention, but I rated that one as an 8.58 out of 10 for Volume 6. So, all right, the next novel that I read, and probably my biggest disappointment for the month, was The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. That's not to say this is a bad book. I think just the world building had a lot of potential, but I think it was kind of all over the place. I think if you would have honed in on maybe just honed in on a couple elements instead of just trying to paint this very vast picture immediately, I think it would have been driven home a little easier, a little better. But yeah, it's still not a bad book. I rated it as a 6.14, so I still liked it. I just maybe not that excited to pick up book 2 when it drops. So yeah, biggest disappointment of the month. Now, the last book that I finished for the month of May was Taltos by Stephen Brust. This is book 4, in release order. This is book 4 for the Vlad Taltos series. And I say release order because chronologically this one I think falls between book 1 and 2. I can't remember, but it's the 4th one that Mr. Brust released. So I've been reading them in release date order, and I think that's, in my opinion, that's, when in doubt, just do release date order. I think that's the best way to do it. And this is definitely the smallest one I've read out of the month, because this isn't even 200 pages, so I think it's technically novella. I'm still fuzzy on how that works. But yeah, this is 181 pages. But this is probably one, it's not my favorite, like, for the month. Like I said, that was Children of Dune, but very close second. This is a 9.18 out of 10. And I think, I can't remember. I'll have to double check in my review, or you'll have to double check in the review. But I think this might be my highest rated Vlad Taltos book so far. This is one of the few books that I've like legitimately laughed out loud recently. I was on the couch reading, and my wife was next to me watching TikTok or YouTube on her phone doing something. And there was a scene that literally just made me laugh out loud. And she was looking at me funny. She's like, "Is a book, like, are you listening to something?" And I'm like, "I'm listening to like music to kind of like drown out what you're saying." But like, "No, I'm reading the book." She's like, "Your book is making you laugh out loud?" I'm like, "Yes." And it was just so unexpected too. It caught me off guard. But it was just such a humorous moment, and I won't tell you what it was for spoiler reasons, but yes, this book is phenomenal, and I think anytime you see anything Vlad Taltos, you should pick it up. So now I just want to highlight some channel updates and some life updates I've had in recent weeks and the upcoming weeks. But for those of you who have been following the channel consistently for the last few months, I've mentioned a few different times that my wife and I are expecting our first baby, and we are both very, very excited. But the baby, I'm recording this video on June 1st, and the baby is due June 8th. So literally a week from today. My wife is 39 weeks pregnant as of today, me recording this. So she is very, very pregnant, and she is ready to have the baby any day now. So with that being said, my reading time is, I won't say in jeopardy, because that has a negative connotation, but my reading time is going to definitely dip in the next coming weeks. Obviously, I got to take care of my wife while she's in recovery. I got to take care of my newborn baby. And I'm so excited to be a father. Like, I am ecstatic. But obviously, I won't have as much time to put towards reading and to put towards the channel. So I definitely still plan on doing the channel. Don't get me wrong. I've been having a lot of fun interacting with you guys in the comments. You guys have been so supportive. It's so cool for me. One of the coolest things about doing YouTube that I didn't really expect is having like similar people like consistently comment on almost every single video, and like have actually insightful things to say instead of just like, "Oh yeah, good," like just generic, "Oh, good video," you know. Like I enjoy those comments as well, but having people and like making friends too. Like I always talk about Benjamin's Book Club, my new Australian friend in the last few months, and like Bryce from Shelf Centered and Richard from Tutor Ramble now, who I'll mention here again in a minute. I've been making connections by making videos and through reading that I never expected I would make. So I just am so thankful and so touched by you guys and just so grateful for everything that's happened. So next, speaking of Richard from Tutor Ramble, Him and I are doing a reread for The Wheel of Time because, again, if you've been following my channel or me for any length of time, you've probably hear me mention that The Wheel of Time is my favorite series of all time, and that is partly due to Richard in his channel in influencing me to start that reading journey. And if you don't know Richard, or if you don't know Two to Ramble, The Wheel of Time is also Richard's favorite series of all time, especially fantasy series. And he was doing a reread and trying to get his co-host Austin to read it for the first time. And they made it through the first 4 books, but then Austin just wasn't vibing with the series. He was actually actively disliking the series. So they decided to put that on pause. Maybe they'll get to it in the future, in the far future. But for the present, Richard still wants to discuss Wheel of Time. So I reached out to him saying, hey, you influenced me and I love the series and I would love to talk about it with you and do a true reread. So that is something that we've started. You may have already seen that video. Thumbnail should be here somewhere on the screen. But that was our overview video talking about why we love Wheel of Time so much and kind of what we're looking forward to on a reread. So I am actively reading Eye of the World right now. I'm about 25% of the way in. 220 some pages out of 820, I think. So that's something that's very exciting for me. Like I said, that this is my first collab ever. So again, shout out to you, Richard, for making this happen. So yeah, that's just some things. And last small thing is that I also got a job promotion. So I work at a big paint company. So I moved stores. So before I was an assistant manager, and now I am a proper store manager for that company. I'm not going to name the company. I don't want to dox myself. But with that added responsibility, there are also added hours, and the commute is over double what my commute was at my last store. So on top of new baby and taking care of wife, now my commute in my more work hours is going to eat into my channel time and my book time as well. So very well could be where I only have one video a week, maybe only one video every couple weeks. But you guys will still hear from me. And if you want constant updates about what I'm reading, things like that, please follow me on Goodreads. I always have that linked down below on all my videos. Or follow me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. I also have that down in links below as well if you want to follow that. So anyway, moving away from the heavy stuff, moving on to, now you can understand why it's an MBR instead of a TBR. But like I said, I started the Eye of the World Wheel Time Book 1. So, and this is also a great time too. Like I said, I'm doing a reread with Richard. So if I'm talking to you, Benjamin, from Benjamin's Book Club, if you haven't read the series yet, or if it's been a while and you want to reread the series, I'm only 20% of the way through, and with probably me having less and less time, it's probably going to take me a decent amount of time to get through it. But like I said, Richard and I, we plan on going through every single book, have a dedicated video for every book. And so yeah, Eye of the World I plan on finishing it in June, and we'll probably have the video at some point mid to end June. Again, this is all dependent on baby and work schedule and working with Richard's schedule and things like that. So anyway, I'm very, very excited to jump back into the Wheel of Time because I have done reviews on this channel for the last 3 books, I think, maybe last 4 books. And I started the Wheel of Time series with the Eye of the World. I think it was almost 2 years ago to the date. I think it was June of 2022. And I wasn't really doing book reviews at that point. And so I didn't really have a good structure. So if you look, I have every single Wheel of Time book rated as a 5 out of 5, which is that 100% accurate? Maybe not, but at the time it was. So that's just another reason why I'm really excited to go through the series, so I can do proper reviews on it, have proper reflection, especially with the way I structure my reviews. Again, stolen from the Two to Ramble podcast or the channel. But yeah, anyway, Wheel of Time, Eye of the World, Book 1 is the first book I plan on finishing for the month of June. Now, book number 2 is a standalone, and it's a little quicker. It's just over 200 pages, and this is maybe a book you've never heard of before, and that is Dark Satellites by W.T. Patterson. And he's an indie author, and he's on TikTok, and he saw a couple of my TikToks, which I also have linked down below if you don't follow me on TikTok, and you want to. And he reached out to me saying, hey, would you read my book if I sent it to you? So I said, sure. and he was even nice enough to have a nice little signature on there for me. So shout out to you, W.T. Patterson. You are a real one. And this is really special to me because this is the first book anyone's just gifted me. I mean, of course, like Christmas, birthday, people have done stuff like that for me. Shout out to you, Aunt Donna and Aunt Teresa. You guys are great, and Aunt Mary as well if you were watching. So like things like those, but like having an actual publisher, or in this case an independent author, reach out to me. This is the first one, so I think that's really cool. Now, I might be a little ambitious with these next few, but if I can somehow stick to my one book a week, which I doubt, again, with less time, but also with trying to take out a chunk or like Eye of the World, I want to continue with Mistborn. I know this, like I said, this is one that I planned on reading in May. It just never happened. With Book 2, Will of Ascension. And part of the reason I didn't do this one is because, like I said, I was really excited about Dark Matter, and then everything else just kind of worked out. But Mistborn, I had very high hopes. Like, I still enjoyed the first book, but it didn't blow me away like I expected it to, and like it did everybody else. So if I were to axe a book out of my list that I'm going to complete here in a couple minutes, this would probably be the first one I would push back again. And maybe I shouldn't do that since I already pushed it back once, but again, we'll see. This is an MBR. I don't have to hold myself to anything. It's just like I have a wish show, I want to read it type thing, you know? So anyway, Book 3 of my MBR for June is Will of Ascension. And like I kind of already said, with the solo leveling stuff, I finished Volume 6 last month, and I currently am borrowing 7 and 8 from my library. And I hate being a hog or feeling like, I know they give you 3 weeks and you can extend it and renew it for another 3 weeks or whatever, depending on your library's policy. But again, I hate thinking that it's like, oh, this is just rotting on my shelf when somebody else could be enjoying it, you know? So these I might prioritize over some other things, but we'll see, like Mistborn. But part of it too, it's so easy to prioritize these because they're just so quick reads. Like it's 300 pages, but it's a picture book, right? Like I've told you before, like my wife makes fun of me that I read picture books, graphic novels or manga. But shout out to you guys that do read this and really enjoy it. But yeah, I don't normally read stuff like this, but I'm on a solo leveling kick right now, and I'm super excited about it. So yeah, 7 and 8. We'll see if I get to both of them. Yeah, just something to throw on there. All right, and the last real book, again, I doubt I'll get to it, but if I somehow keep to the one book a week, God Emperor of Dune by Frank Herbert. I convinced my wife to let me buy God Emperor and then Chapter House and Heretics. I think it's Heretics and then Chapter House of Dune. Whatever, the last 3 that Frank Herbert wrote, I convinced her to let me buy them because I said, oh yeah, I'm going to do like bam, bam, bam. I'm going to read them and then review them, read them and then review them. Back to back to back to back, like from May to June to July to August. So she understands if I don't, but I have every intention, Kayla, of reading this and reviewing it for the channel. And I am very excited for it. There's just so much to read in just so little time, right? So anyway, I appreciate you guys. I know this is a longer form video. I know usually I do my wrap up in one video and my TBR, MBR in a different video, but I figured just with life updates and just everything to talk about, and again, with me recording this on June 1st, and this probably won't come out until the Thursday, what is it, June 6th or June 6th, I think. I don't want to have my June MBR come out in the middle of June, right? That's kind of silly. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you kind of like this structure a little more, where it's my May wrap up, or the 1 month wrap up, and then the following month TBR, MBR. I don't know. Let me know. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for all the support you guys have given me. I don't even think I said 200 subscribers. You guys are awesome. We hit 200 subscribers, so that's exciting. And yeah, so just thank you guys for everything, and I am excited to keep on reading and keep giving you guys content and interacting you guys with you guys in the comments. So shout out to you guys. You guys are epic, and I love you so much. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like down below. If you want to see more from me, Nick Dan, please hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification icon so you guys know when I upload each and every single time. And I'll catch you fools in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.